Anyway, we'll get to those end games at the end of the show. Before we get to the end of the show, let's get to the start of the show and kick it off with our review of Bo Burnham's Inside, which I mentioned is his latest comedy special. Is currently on Netflix. I'm not sure there's much else to say about this one to tee it up, I suppose. It's written, directed, and produced by Bo Burnham himself. And hey, Ryan, thanks for joining us. I'll kick off the discussion by saying that until Promising Young Woman earlier this year, I'm not sure I had heard of Bo Burnham. Maybe the name was thrown around. Maybe someone shared a comedy joke clip of his over the past decade or so that he's sort of been around. But it was going into Inside. I'm like, oh, the cool guy from Promising Young Woman that I really enjoyed. Like, he was really funny. And he was quite cool. Yeah. He was like, very, very charismatic and charming in that film. So that was my setup, but I'm keen to understand, Ben, you were the first. I'd started hearing about Bo Burnham's Inside on Twitter. Like a lot of people that I follow, notably Jeff Canado, who used to do a film review show that I really enjoyed. He was saying how genius it was. And then a couple of days after that, you were messaging the group saying, Bo Burnham's Inside, everyone go watch it. It's amazing. But how familiar how familiar with Bo Burnham were you before Inside?
Tons. I was a huge fan of his from his last special, Make Happy, which was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I can't remember how I came upon it. I think I was just consuming comedy specials on Netflix because Netflix was like releasing one a week for like 30 weeks at a time a few years ago. They were going nuts. And this was one of the really good ones. Make Happy was really good. It's a traditional stage performance stand-up special where this one's more of like an art piece film kind of project, but this one was much more audience and comedian, except with musical comedy as the medium. And I was totally obsessed on that one. I'm surprised to hear that this is the first time you heard of him, Shane, because I'm sure I would have had you over and said Shane, watched not watch the whole thing, but like check this out. Or I was very evangelistic about it. I think I convinced Terry to watch it. I'm not 100% sure.
I was going to back up your story about the why you watched it. In 2015, when it came out, I was doing regular movie nights at your new home, and we watched a bunch of comedy specials. Like, you introduced me to comedians that I hadn't heard of, like that really quirky blonde lady whose name I forget, who's like super chaotic, looks a little bit like a squirrel.
I'll try to remember her name. Keep going.
So we were watching a comedy special basically a week at your place, and when I started dating Jen was around that time, and she started joining us for some of those as well. And Caitlin, I think you were still with Ali at this point in time, maybe. And so Jen, Ali, yourself, your house, Bo Burnham, Make Happy, and we were just in stitches throughout. It was such a great special to watch. So yeah, brilliant.
And what about you, Jace? Your familiarity with Mr. Burnham?
So I don't know if you guys remember what Vine is, but there's a Vine out there that he did, where it's like
he did a few.
Keyboard. Yeah, one particular one is I'm gonna say the V word here.
Red.
Is there anything better than pussy? Yes, a really good book. There's like playing the keyword. That's that and a few things that some work friends had sent me before. And his role in Promising Young Woman. That's it. And then it was coming out, and one of my friends was like really, really excited. It's like, oh my god, I really can't wait for Bo Burnham's special to come out. And then it finally came out, and she watched it as soon as it came out. She just kept talking about how good it is and how catchy the songs are, and she just kept listening to it over and over again. And she absolutely loved it, and she kept getting me to like watch it, and I kept saying, I'm not really interested in his content and whatever. And then Ben started talking about it, and she's like, see, Ben even likes it. Like, you should, like, he doesn't like TV shows, and he loves this. And so then you guys we're going, this is a topic for this week's show, and I said to her, like, okay, let's watch it. And then we watched it.
Yeah.
The comedian was Maria Bamford. The show was called Old Baby. It's so funny. That's such a special.
It's a really good special, and her delivery, it's so quirky and awesome. Like, really good sense of timing.
For you guys, it's this special. It's called Old Baby. She must be like 50 or something like that. She's older comedian. She's really, really good. It's quite quite a great special. But it starts as like her just talking to her toy dog, stuffed dog or whatever, and then eventually she's talking to like one other person, and then she's talking in a room of like a lounge room of like 3 or 4 people. Then she's just like out on the street talking to a cluster of 6 or 7 people, and like it literally just keeps going. She's in a library talking to like a dozen people, and then she's in a I don't know. Eventually it gets to the closer, and she's in front of a whole actual audience. But it's that's not the gag. It's just how she decided to put it all together, which is really quirky. But the jokes are so good. Jokes are so funny.
They really are.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, that was my familiarity with it. Ben, it was on my list. You know, basically, I've been seeing the sentiment online, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to add it to my Netflix list. But it was your message that sort of pushed me, like, okay, I need to watch this as soon as possible. But yeah, seeing as though you're the one who sort of propelled us to really dive in, I want to get your thoughts first.
Did you see 8th Grade, by the way, Shane?
What's that, sorry?
It was a movie in 2018, 19. It's called 8th Grade.
I've been wanting to watch that because I saw a lot of people talking about that. I haven't personally gotten around to it.
It was this, high school coming of age kind of dealing with the social stresses of being a kid or whatever kind of movie. Mm-hmm. And he wrote and directed that.
Yeah.
He's not in it, but he made it. He also was actually in The Big Sick, which was just like a really, really great.
I've been wanting to watch that. I still haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I forgot to note that he hasn't done too much from a traditional actor perspective, but that is one that I definitely a movie I enjoyed, but I don't recall his part in it. I'd have to.
The Big Sick is Kumail Nanjiani's story. It's like a true telling of how he met his wife and became like a comedian, basically. Well, no, actually, no, it's not even the comedian part. It's mostly about how he met his wife and the troubling time that he went through during that little bit. And
it's Zoe Kazan, right, from Ruby Sparks.
Yeah, that's it. She plays the girlfriend, the love interest. Don't want to spoil it for anybody.
Still worth watching, guys.
Bo Burnham plays like one of his comedian buddies, and they kind of like josh each other and riff on each other and stuff. He's actually really funny as a dick comedian buddy of yours, like who doesn't let you get away with anything. Anyway, to without further ado, you asked me what I thought. I thought this was a masterpiece. I was like, so even with the burden of expectation, I was so expected to be impressed coming into this special. I'm like, this guy keeps me on my toes. Like, not just from like a comedic talent, but like an intellectualist thinking point of view. The approach that he takes to comedy, to celebrity, to entertainment and artistic enterprise is one that I totally gel with. And so I was sitting down like, let's see what you've got, Mr. Big Shot guy. And every scene, every song, I was like, this is better than the last one. Every single one, I was like, this is just getting better and better. How is this possible? Like, this is my favorite song. And then it's like the next one will happen. I'm like, that was even better than this one. I was so into it. And when it ended, I was like, I told Caitlin, I was like, that was like the best thing I've ever seen. Like, that was the best thing ever. I love that. Everything about that, I really loved it. And that's what I say to people when they ask me what I thought of it. I'm like, it was really the best thing ever. I loved it. I don't know about you guys. We can talk about favorite songs once we do the rounds, I suppose. But I've definitely got one. I've definitely got a reason why I love it. But so the special addresses like all of these really big themes in a really meta but also approachable way. It's like a song will hit you and it's just a really funny song. It's like about FaceTiming with his mum or something like that. It's just on the surface, it's just hilarious because it's like, you guys know about this part of the internet or part of being a young person growing up with technology or whatever, and the ridiculousness of it. Here's an element of that, and so you can enjoy the song. But then there's this I don't know, meta analysis that you can do of it, and you can really go as deep as you want. Which is a really fun part. It's like the core of it to me is like this thing that I've dealt with on like Facebook and stuff when I was writing my reviews for movies and stuff. It's like you have to I don't know how most people don't manage to do this. People just post their lives on Facebook or whatever. How they don't address the question of like, how can you get over the audacity that what you have to say requires someone's time to stop and absorb what you're saying? Like, how can you possibly overcome the presumption that you have something to say that people should stop and listen to? By the way, thanks for joining us on the podcast. So that's something that I really do have to confront. Like, I don't think I'm smarter than anybody watching us right now. Like, I'm not going to tell you something you don't already know about Bo Burnham, especially if you were to watch it and reflect on it like I have. So what am I doing here? You know, it's that paradox. He addresses that paradox with like this, what the fuck else am I going to do? Like, how am I going to heal the world's problems? How can I help while also making everything all about me and making money at the same time? Like, that's the first thing that he says in like the first song. I love that angle where he like draws this line, right? He's like navigating this really razor thin line of being meta and cool and also addressing the fact while he's like jumping up and down on it and saying, look guys, you guys shouldn't be so like, you shouldn't put me up on a pedestal. You shouldn't treat artists like fanboys do. Nothing that I do or anyone else in my position or job does is genuine. I am not being genuine with you right now. I am tricking you into empathizing with me. I'm tricking you into being entertained against your will or with your will, if you will. And you're all going to fall for it no matter what I do. And then for some reason, knowing that going in, I still fall for it every time. I'm still like, oh man, Bo's really upset about this. Or, you know, he's like,
yes.
Oh man, I really do like was feeling for the guy. He goes through some shit like in this special of being stuck inside during the pandemic, which is why it's called Inside, FYI. It's because he's literally stuck. He's got nothing to do, so he may as well make some content for us all. And that's the special. Anyway, I can go on, but I'll let someone else catch and...
I'll jump to you in a moment, Terry. I just want to get to chat. Ryan has some things to say. Thanks for tuning in again, my friend. The special is brilliant. Musically, it's just fantastic. The high-level production, the irony of him all these years later returning to where he started, back in his room with a single camera. He also says, All Eyes on Me is my standout. To me, this song perfectly embodies the voice in your head, the one that lures you to darker places and thoughts. Quote, don't be scared, don't be shy. Come on in, the water's fine. Put your hands up and surrender. Focus only on the voice. All eyes on me. And he also says his
as well in that song, like the weird, like he just starts looking at directly into the camera, and at the same moment he's saying like, "Are you feeling nervous?"
Ryan also says, my 4-year-old is in love with content and comedy, so does that make me a questionable parent? I'm not sure. Maybe you're doing him a service in the long run. Terry, over to you, my friend. What did you think of this?
Well, to kind of Ben's point, I ended up having I couldn't stop thinking about this special. I think I've seen it probably half a dozen, if not 10 times now. Like, I just keep coming back to it, and I've listened to all of the songs as an album on repeat, and I've listened to my like 6 favorite songs from it probably close to 100 times cumulative. It's been in and around my whole brain. And I messaged Ben at one point while I was at work. I'm like, hey, I need to talk with you about Inside at some point, because I just have so many thoughts about this and I can't stop thinking about it. And I don't know if we're going to talk about it on the podcast. So I just need to vent some of these thoughts. Otherwise,
FYI, Shane, we got into that call. It was like, hey, Terry. Oh, hey, Ben. Okay, so, and then he talked for 15 minutes. He talked for 15 minutes and I just sat there.
Yeah. It was,
yeah. I was this close to playing a joke like when you were done saying like, are you still there, Terry? I can't hear you. like I'd missed everything that you'd said or something like that. But you were being pretty sincere and genuine. That's why I just took you at face value. We talked it out.
We did.
Yeah. Cool.
And so I don't want to spend the next 15 minutes remembering all of those thoughts, but things that I've kind of thought about it after the fact. And Ben very helpfully linked me to a really cool interview between Bo Burnham and some other chap talking about Make Happy, because a lot of the same thoughts around Bo Burnham's mental health, because that features quite prominently in a couple of the songs in Make Happy and definitely in Inside. So they kind of talked about it, and he's like, I'm okay. Like, obviously there were panic attacks that were happening. This is why I had to quit. This is why I had to take a break so I could work on myself and address these issues, and work on other projects as well, which is where, you know, the other things that he did have kind of filled that space. But talking with Ben about Inside, there were elements of the conversation that I didn't get to, which were the more technical pieces of the production and things that particularly with FaceTiming with my mum, and like White Woman's Instagram, there's this visual storytelling element to this special that is incredibly special and so on point. Like the FaceTiming with my mum in particular, for me, you've got these 3 different viewpoints of himself from different perspectives, and it's just brilliant. Like, he's having this mental breakdown, like swear, and like you can see him mouthing swear words at his mum, saying, "Your thumb is on the fucking camera, mum. Take your thumb off the fucking camera." And then he's like, I'm sorry, I love you." And then, like, if you spend the time to like lip read what he's saying, it's hilarious, and it's got nothing to do with what he's singing. What he's singing is relatively lighthearted, and it's nice, it's sweet. Lyrically, that song is brilliant. He's like, taking time off with the dudes because I'm FaceTime with my mum tonight. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's fun. Yeah, I don't know what much more to say. I will say that I think that Bo Burnham's singing chops can be obfuscated by his use of auto-tune and other audio tricks with his voice. Listening to That Funny Feeling, where it's just his voice, and with an acoustic guitar, which also, it's a nice change of pace from his awesome piano work, but his vocal clarity, just the texture of his voice is brilliant. I love hearing him sing. I'm thinking of one of the Make Happy songs as well. There's a particular moment, it's the one where he's talking about... Is
it the Lower Expectations song?
Yeah, Lower Your Expectations. And it's like, he does this vocal...
He goes into the bridge and he says, "We all deserve love," and he kind of trills it. Yeah, I know exactly the thing you're talking about.
Exactly the thing that, brilliant song, very well sung. He's very, very talented and very well practiced at his art of performance, and that's super cool. I love seeing him perform. I love listening to him sing, and his piano playing is brilliant. I love the Jeffrey Bezos songs. Both of them have some really cool keyboard riffs in it, and
how poignant is, like, he nailed, he got so lucky with that reference. Like, if he picked a different billionaire like Warren Buffett or something and did a song about that, it wouldn't have hit as hard, because Bezos is in the popular zeitgeist as soon as it comes out. Like, this special comes out, he's been working on it for like over a year, and he nails that exact thing. That was so cool.
I'd be interested to find out where certain pieces were constructed, like whether there's certain songs where they ended up being placed in the special, were they songs that he worked at towards the end, and so he had the benefit of where some of that
there's a couple of
things are.
There's a couple of like real big show off wanks that he does, like the last song where he's like, "This is my demo for the last song," and he's like clean shaven and he starts singing it, and then it kind of just morphs into him finishing it when he's like all just completely a mess, because it's been like almost 2 years or whatever of not shaving.
That's another...
He does a couple of those. There's a couple of those where it's like, there's one where he's wearing a white shirt and sitting there, and there's a projection of him
I was about to
from
say
like a year ago on his shirt. Like, oh my God. So he has to like film himself doing the thing way on early in the piece, and then grow a full fucking beard for months, and then film the bit with the projection of him younger on his older shirt. It's like so cool how he...
I don't necessarily think that's what it was. I don't know if he planned it. If he did, that is some like 500 IQ big brain plays. But I think what's more likely, because the thing that you're referring to is him when he says, "Look, I'm not going to kill myself. I don't want to kill myself. And if you're thinking of killing yourself, just don't. Just don't. Like, if you think it, don't. Just don't do it. And then he's like talking about, like, you know, people love you. That's not necessarily true, but people in the future might love you. And it's at that point in the monologue about don't kill yourself that he becomes a projection on himself, and he's reviewing back. It's like he's dwelling on this monologue that he had to say about not killing himself. And in the monologue, he's clean shaven, and like when he's reviewing it and viewing it back, he's just like, I am not in a good place right now. Like he looks like hell, and he's like reviewing it again. So it's like, one part of me wants to believe that it's both. It's like he planned on
hang on a sec, Terry.
something more with it.
Before we go any deeper, I'm just mindful that Terry and Ben have taken over the conversation. Jason, I want to get your thoughts before I get to you. I do want to get back to chat, and then we'll dive a bit deeper into the conversation you guys are having. Just to quickly note, Kush Bandicoot, yes, we are going to sing for you later. Just request a song. We'll probably have a poll in the chat. No, I'm just joking, but no, seriously, I will sing if you want, because I love all the songs. Ryan, you're commenting on which song were we talking about there? It was the FaceTime with your mum. Yes, nice flip flop on those romantic R&B like songs. Twiggy, you lost your shit over the synth at the end of Bezos.
Oh, I love that bit at the end of Bezos where he just screams out nowhere. That's so good.
Yeah, smash cuts to the next thing.
Jason, yes, you said you weren't too familiar with Bo Burnham, but how do you feel coming out of this special?
Yeah, so I didn't, because I knew it was a comedy special, right? But like, I feel like I came out the other side of it, like, that wasn't a comedy, that was a drama. You know what I mean? Like, just like The Big Short is a drama with some funny moments in there, like a lot of funny moments.
It's listed as a comedy on IMDb.
Yeah, but like, what? The Big Short?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I looked at it through a different lens. But like,
I think because the subject matter is so serious that your mind automatically defaults to drama, but
that's probably
moment to moment, and there are some intense dramatic moments, but I think for the most part it's still a comedy,
Yeah, so like, I don't know, I think I was along for the ride for more of the dramatic than for the funnies, you know? So like, look, I laughed at some of the songs and whatnot, but yeah, I came out of the other end thinking that was really visceral. And there are a lot of moments in there. I mean, like, at the moment we're in a lockdown in Sydney right now, but last year when we were in lockdown, I was stuck at home myself, and I started making some YouTube videos myself. They're called Cooking with Jason. I just made some shitty videos of me cooking, right?
No,
and that
they were fun.
Those things slapped. I love that.
Did they? Oh, well, thank you. But I think I started doing that as like a creative outlet to, like, to do something to, like, it was initially something to like get to build the morale up at work, because I was sending those videos to some of my workmates, and then I just started doing it. So that was my creative outlet whilst I was stuck at home here. And like, watching this was kind of like a reflection of some of the shit that I went through last year. Because look, I wasn't in the best mental health state last year as well. And watching this was kind of like, fuck, like that, this could have been me, you know? In the sense of like not making like $1 million like Netflix special, but like I just like, I don't know, like, I think I was lucky because I wasn't stuck in a room all by myself, with no one there. Like, I had friends and family here with me as well. And I had the Xbox and the PC, and I bought an Oculus for myself, you know, and try to get me like, so coming out of the other end of this, like, it was such a testament to his creativeness to like get out there and create something, you know. Like, you'll see lots of books and lots of movies, lots of things created in like some of the most stressful, heart-wrenching moments, right? Or like times of someone's life, right? I can't think of any books off the top of my head right now, but you can there are, and you know, in chat let me know, but like, you know, there are plenty of like texts out there with people who have like written some of the most beautiful things ever published to paper in some of the most distraught and distressing times of their life, you know?
I thought you were heading straight towards the Diary of Anne Frank there for a second there, Jason.
Oh, look.
It was her best work.
Oh my god. You know, there are seriously people out there that come in and ask for the sequel.
Oh my
That
god,
book.
they do not.
They
Yeah, they
don't.
do.
You're lying.
No, I'm not lying. I'm not lying.
No, that's oh my
No,
god.
I'm sorry that yeah.
Oh my
She
god.
didn't write a sequel. But like yeah, it's I came out of this and just like some of the like I can't imagine some of the shit that he had to have gone through to create this because like the editing is on point, the timing of everything is great, the audio and everything was really good. And I was going through watching the credits of everything, and he had his hands on nearly all of it. He had creative control of everything, and look, he did have some people out there to help with color correction and that kind of stuff there too. But like fucking hell, man, like. If I was wearing a hat, I would take it off to you right now because this is fucking amazing. This is like artistically, Ben said it earlier. Artistically, this is a masterpiece. This is really good. The music,
little edits of it are so good. You can the way he slides into like I think it's either sexting or FaceTime with my mom. I can't remember, but it's supposed to be like interacting with your phone. It changes perspective. It goes into portrait. Oh, it's so cool. And the way that it does it, like with the first wide shot of just having blackness around, so it's not just cutting you down to a portrait mode perspective, but it's giving you a transitional space. Negative space over here that will eventually come down. And so it's seamless. Like you really have to be looking for it to see the kind of stuff that he does.
Yeah. And like one thing I noticed as well is what's that white woman's Instagram one?
Yeah.
Like that aspect ratio is 1:1.
Yes. 1:1.
Just like
which is Instagram. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I thought it was great, and some of the fucking his compositions of the scene as well. It's just like it's like exactly. I see so many Instagram posts of like white women doing exactly that. I was like, fucking, it's great. It's really good. And he really
it's like material. Like you know the story how like people object to material comedians put out because it's offensive or whatever, and the comedian's response is like, I can say whatever I want and it's funny or whatever. This one, it's like, it doesn't, like, if you were upset by it, that you got no room to stand on because he's so fucking spot on. Like he's so right. Like whatever he's saying is just like, okay, fair enough.
Man, and it's just. Visually like amazing, like the moment where he was looking down and he turns the headlamp on and looks up at the disco ball. I was like, fucking hell, that was fucking amazing.
I was on that the conversation I was having with Ben before we started talking about like the analysis of between like whether he's been dwelling back on it or whether he had thought that that's what I'm going to do in 6 months time. I'm going to project this on myself with my full glorious Jesus beard looking somewhat hobo-ish. It's those exact things. I'm turning 30. It's 3 lights, the foot pedals, and like his phone with a white light, and he just like flashes the white light periodically at certain points, and that's it. That's the lighting for that song, and it's so effective. The other one was Welcome to the Internet. You've got the 2 tones of that song that have lighting elements that match them, and when you get to the third piece of the, like, you've got the preamble, the middle bit, and the third bit, they're melded together, and both lighting effects are present in the one thing. It's just another piece of visual storytelling that complements the audio experience and the
other thing is that
the music and the singing.
I watched this video of this guy who went through like all of the equipment that was used, like he's screenshotting bits of it and looking up. He's like, this is probably it, this is probably the camera he's using, this is the lens, this is the lighting he's using, and it's like all off Amazon for cheap as fuck, except for the camera, which is like a really nice like 6K camera. That's the only expensive piece of equipment. The rest is just like I bought, the cheapest disco ball and this really efficient, effective projector and these lights which change luminous and color and stuff, which you can get on Amazon for $40 and all this kind of crazy stuff that's just super cheap. And he's managed to pull this perfect thing off with all that stuff. Love it.
The other one piece that I just wanted to mention was the state of the room. It varies so greatly. Like the portion of white women's Instagram where the tone shifts and it's the Instagram person talking about the portrait of the mum, and like how it's like the floor's completely clear, the wall's nice, it's got the framing of the room lit with string lights and things like that. The room's completely clear, but
I think it also pulls out of the 1x1 at that point. It's like, now I've stopped making fun of this. This is something that people actually have to say that they use Instagram for, and it's worthwhile.
Yeah, it's like the heart of gold that Instagram has behind all of the garbage. But the rest of the time, there's like mess everywhere, and there's a a small portion, I think it's between two of the songs, where he's trying to get the fixtures and the lighting kind of ready, and he accidentally pulls on something that pulls the camera over or something like that. It's like
I'd love to go around the room and quickly ask, do you guys think, was that staged? Like he's like, okay, I'm going to pull this, and like he did all that on purpose? Or do you think that was just some fuck up that happened and he just put it in?
I think he put it in.
I don't care if it's either. Like if it's one or the other, the impact, like I almost don't care if it was not genuine, because the idiom that I'm thinking of is like your bedroom is, or not your bedroom, like your state of mind is reflected in the state of your room. And so there are periods of the special where the room looks clear, looks clean, ordered, if a little cluttered. And there's other times where shit is literally like tangled. Like it could not be more tangled unless you tried. So that to me was a nice extra piece of visual context.
What do you think, Chase?
Sorry, what?
Terry does like to suck all the life out of a question sometimes. I was just hoping for like a quick, what do you reckon?
Ryan, just to go back on what you're saying, Jace, he says he agrees. Watching back on this helped me reflect on my own mental health. I was able to see with clarity how bad I was/am from all this. He helped clear the fog enough to go, hang on, oh fuck. Ryan also asked, how many of you relate to all your stupid friends having stupid children? I'll get to that in a moment. And Ryan also notes, he talks about how to, this is Bo Burnham, talks about how to the letter his live shows are scripted. I would imagine this is the same. So yeah, you might have a point there that might have been completely scripted.
In Make Happy, he says, to the gesture, and then he goes like this, and there's a sound effect that plays when he goes boing.
Boing. Yeah, that's great.
Anyway, to get to my brief thoughts, I jumped in shortly after Ben, really encouraged us to, and I was cacking myself for a good like 10, 15 minutes in, loving life so much. And it got to when I messaged the group and said I'm literally in tears was when it was the social media consultant, I think you said, or the social corporate responsibility
the
consultant.
Social brand consultant.
That's it, social brand consultant. And the line that got me, that made me send the text, was it's not about, I'm going to butcher it, but it's no longer about what you're selling, but what you stand for. Who are you, Bagel Bites?
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy's
he does that again in that song, Funny Feeling. He says a company's take on race, but it's not a company that we know. It's like a chip company in America, but we don't know what they're called. We wouldn't know what they are.
But anyway, and so I sent that message, and then immediately after, I'm laughing doubly as hard as I was when I sent the message, when White Woman's Instagram starts playing. And there were two particular moments where he knocked me off of my feet with just how real he actually nailed it. Like the moment where he cuts to from the first chorus into the verse, and he's there in like white overalls on his knees, like with a roller painter with his hair pinned back. I lost it. And then after the more sincere moment with, speaking about the mum who's passed away, it cuts to, like the music swells, and the first line of that next verse is a goat cheese salad.
Yeah,
I was crying. I was in tears so much. Oh, yeah. I think like you guys have already mentioned, I won't dwell on too much, but this is a masterpiece. It's absolutely brilliant, and I love, to your point, Terry and Jason as well, just like the composition, and particularly with something like White Woman's Instagram, just the production work that went into that, like. The smallest thing, like the list of things he needs, like, okay, fucking white overalls, an avocado, small pumpkins, paint, this, that, and the other. Like, there would have been so many things. And yeah, to your point, Jace, like it's him, right? Like, yeah, he had a lot of help in post-production, but that would have been a solid effort to get all that done, and just the amount of time that's required to get the framing right. I think of something like sexting and like the emojis at like being projected and whatnot, and how long that would have taken to get the lighting absolutely right, and the exposure on the camera, and everything involved in the production of this would have been so difficult. And man, he put in the hard yards, and I can't help but applaud him. It's absolutely unbelievable. A couple of other favorites that I want to mention, because Ben, I saw you noted in chat that your favorite song hadn't been mentioned yet. My favorites jumping out were White Woman's Instagram, and Turning 30, because Turning 30 I can relate to, having turned 30 last year, and that I wake up singing that song, like not because it's played or anything, just because it's ingrained in my head so much. And stupid, fucking, ugly, boring children. It's just, I want to share it with friends who have had children. Just be like, this is my experience, but I don't want to upset them, and like, I don't want them to assume that I think their children are stupid, ugly, and boring. But they're not. They're not. It's just really funny.
A lot of the songs in this collection of this special, he utilizes like this really cool, like just repeating the line at the end thing. Like he does it there with all my fucking stupid fucking friends having children or whatever. He does it with my mum is covering her camera with her thumb thing in the FaceTime with my mom.
It's like a reverb back, right? Like
it's this R&B thing that he's embraced. That's someone in chat actually. I should scroll up and
Ryan mentioned it. Ryan he was commenting on.
Yeah, Ryan mentioned the R&B elements. Yeah. It's like it's heavy and a lot of the ends of lots of the songs, and it's really cool. I really like sing those over and over again. My favorite one is from my favorite song, Problematic.
Which Ryan just says, like in chat.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's like, absolutely.
Ryan. Finally heard my favorite song. It is by far the best, in my opinion. I'll fight on a hill to the death over that one. It's like the thing that he's talking about how he's got a closet full of vaguely shitty things.
Yeah.
And that to me it's got the best lyric in the entire special, and that is Ben, I'm gonna butcher it, but it was it was lawful but not very thoughtful.
Totally lawful but not very thoughtful.
That's it.
At all, and just really shitty.
That's it. That's the line, and that's that's the perfect way to surmise so many shitty things that we've all done in our past, right?
He goes straight in from that into literally standing like Jesus on the cross being crucified.
It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Actually, my favorite visual from the special is that. So I don't know why I like this. I know why I love the song, but I don't know why I love the visual of his sweaty belly, and he just puts a drink bottle into his belly button.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. I went, oh.
I think I did a spit take or something when I watched it for the first time. Because it's just completely out of left field.
That is in Problematic, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's in Problematic, because he's all sweaty and working out.
Yeah,
it's all orange hue and stuff. Yeah, that's the working on yourself song. He's like working out to improve himself, and to improve himself, he has to confess all of his sins to this woke culture, so that he can ascend or whatever. I love that song. It's a great song.
Yeah,
and when he kindly breaks out of singing to he says like, I'm gonna go home and burn the Aladdin city. He's like, wait, not burn it. What should I do with
it? He's like, oh, maybe I won't.
It's so real. And that happens again in Turning 30, where it's just like he goes, I made fun of all the boomers, perhaps in retrospect a bit too much. Now all these fucking zoomers are telling me how I'm out of touch, and then he just starts talking about, it's like, well, when you generate a social disorder in your late 20s, don't come crawling back to me.
Oh, that's the other thing I love. I love when he like makes the groany noise. It happens like twice in Turning 30, but a couple other times in another song, where he's like, I'm turning 30. He's like,
oh, damn it!
It's just pain. In audio form. Anyway, also the last one I want to mention that just also had me cacking up at just how accurate of a parody it was How the World Works with Socko.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Brilliant. And it's just like, I'm just trying to be a good person. It's like, aren't you fucking listening? No, he says, goes, don't forget who's on whose hands, Socko. It's like, weren't you fucking listening to anything I just said?
Yeah. Yep.
And he goes and it gets really dark. And he's And he's like,
Yeah.
sorry, what? It's like, sorry, sir.
Yeah.
And just like his voice acting when he like rips Socko off his hand as well. It's just like, it's just
A lot of the times, like just coming down the stairs, I'll just say to myself, like, the FBI killed Martin Luther King. So I'm like, just going down the stairs. That's just stuck in my head as well.
Oh yes, Ryan. This is another one I wanted to mention. The live streaming was a blast. Walk away, cry 4 times, tries to open the door, day end. Also the parody on live reacting to his own video that's just looped. Brilliant.
That's Unpaid Intern, which lyrically is also quite fun.
Oh, great song. I'm sad that actually that song didn't continue. Like, wasn't a 3-minute banger.
Exactly.
Yeah, really, really
somehow legal. Yeah, that one where he does that thing again. That thing again where he just like. He can take a step back and like just point out his privilege, or just point to the fact that like no one should be paying him any attention or whatever. And in that one where it's just looping around and he's giving criticism on his criticism, he kind of just goes meta and then meta again, where he's like, the reason I'm saying this is because it kind of like excuses me from saying the inflamed things that I do, which it totally shouldn't. You know, like he just keeps going deeper and deeper until he's just like, I don't want to do this anymore. He just like turns it off.
Yeah. He's like, stop. Yeah, great. Fantastic.
Anyway, that is Bo Burnham's Inside. It is on Netflix right now. We can't encourage you anymore to go and watch it for yourselves. We think it is a masterpiece, and I think a sort of an album that's going to be live in my mind rent free for many years. I think.
I think I can. Just to add to that, go and watch his other specials. Words is free on YouTube. Netflix has.
Make Happy.
Make Happy, and Inside. Watch them in that order. That's the order they came out in.
The end of Make Happy has the same kind of a song as the end of Inside with the Come Inside song. It's like the Kanye West rant that he does at the end of Make Happy, and it's like that one got Terry obsessed. I think he listened to that song every day for a year or something. So if you want to know what makes Terry obsessed, watch Make Happy all the way to the end.